Hi, my loves, it's Elena. Come in, sit down, get settled, because I have been holding this reading in my chest all day, and I genuinely could not wait to sit down with you for it. So let me tell you what happened, because it's the whole reason we're here tonight. This morning, I was out running the most boring errand imaginable. I was at the pharmacy, of all places, waiting in that little line they make you stand in, and there was a woman ahead of me on the phone. And I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but you know how it is. You're standing there, you've got nothing to do. The words just float over to you. And she said this one thing to whoever she was talking to. She said no. I didn't fight with him. I didn't make a scene. I just stopped. And I think that's what's killing him. And loves, I felt that sentence go all the way down my spine. I almost dropped my basket. Because there was something in the way she said it so steady, so unbothered, almost gentle that told me she wasn't bitter at all. She wasn't performing strength. She had genuinely, fully, peacefully walked away from something. And the person on the other end of that goodbye was the one falling apart. I went home, I made my tea, and I sat down with my cards and I said, okay, universe, there's somebody who needs this. There's somebody out there who left quietly, who didn't slam the door, who didn't beg, who didn't blow up, who just closed the chapter with their head held high. And they have no idea what that calm exit is doing to the person they left behind. So if that's you, if you walked away with grace, and you've been wondering whether they even noticed, whether they even cared, whether your silence is landing at all, pull this chair a little closer. Because tonight, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Not the version they'd ever let you see, the real one. Let me shuffle. Let me pull straight from how they're feeling right now, in this no contact, ever since you went quiet. Okay, here we go. The first pull, the silence they can't decode. The first card I'm pulling tonight is the Seven of Cups. And the very first word that dropped into my mind was fog. This person is in a fog. And I want you to understand what kind of fog this is, because it's very specific. The Seven of Cups is the card of too many possibilities swirling at once, of a mind that cannot land on a single solid thought. And that is exactly what your calm exit did to them. Here's the thing, loves. When you leave someone with drama, when there's a screaming match, when there are tears, when there's a big dramatic blowout, you actually give that person something to hold on to. You give them a story. She was crazy. He was too much. It was toxic. It was mutual. It was loud. It was chaos. They get to file it away under a neat little label and move on with their narrative intact. But you didn't give them that. You took the story away from them. You left with such composure, such quiet dignity, that there's no villain for them to point to. There's no scene to replay and feel justified about. There's just this clean, quiet, classy absence. And their mind cannot process it. It's reaching for a cup, reaching for a reason, an explanation, a way to frame what happened, and every cup it grabs turns out to be empty. The fog won't lift because you gave them nothing to burn off the fog with. So right now, behind the scenes, this person is doing a thing that's going to sound very familiar to anyone who's ever been on the other side of a breakup. They are sitting there going over it and over it and over it, trying to find the moment it went wrong, trying to locate the exact thing they could have done differently. And they keep coming up empty. Because the truth is, the thing they don't want to look at, you didn't leave because of one moment. You left because you finally valued yourself. And that's not a problem they can solve. That's not a cup they can fill. It's a mirror, and they don't want to look in it. Comment no story below if you left without giving them the satisfaction of a dramatic exit, if you walked away clean and quiet. I want to see how many of you understand the power of what you actually did. And I want to add one more layer to this fog before we move on, because it's the layer that makes this card almost cruel in its accuracy. The Seven of Cups doesn't just confuse them, it makes them romanticize. That's the dangerous part of the fog. When a person can't get a clear read on reality, their mind starts filling in the blanks with fantasy. And those fantasy cups are always more golden than the truth ever was. So, right now, in their confusion, your person is doing something that's going to sound almost unfair to you. They are rewriting the history of your connection in their head, and in their new version, you're glowing. The little things they overlooked when they had you, now they shine. The patience they took for granted, now it looks like loyalty they'll never find again. The warmth they let go cold, now it's the warmest memory they own. The fog is making you more beautiful in their mind, not less, because absence plus confusion equals idealization. They are falling for the version of you they only fully saw once you were already gone. And there is a poetic justice in that the person who couldn't appreciate you in real time is now haunted by a polished, perfect, fog-lit version of the very thing they let slip away. Let's pull the next one. The second pull, the Phantom Reach, okay? The next card is the Eight of Cups, reversed, and loves. This one made me sit up because it's showing me something most people never get to see what your person does in the moments when no one is watching. Upright, the Eight of Cups is someone walking away, leaving the cups behind, choosing to go. That was you. You were the one who walked. But it came out reversed for them. And reversed Eight of Cups is the energy of someone who cannot walk away, who keeps turning back around, who is stuck at the threshold, unable to move on, even though logically they know they should. So here's what's actually happening behind the scenes. This person keeps reaching for their phone, and then putting it down, and then reaching for it again. There is a draft. I'm telling you, loves, there is a draft, a message they typed out and didn't send. Maybe more than one, maybe a whole graveyard of them. They get right to the edge of breaking the silence, and then their pride yanks them back. Because to message you would be to admit something. It would be to confess that the calm one, the one who left so gracefully, won. And their ego cannot stomach that. Not yet. I call this the Phantom Reach. It's the 100 little movements toward you that you never see. The times they open your old conversation just to read it. The times they almost like something. The times they start to type your name into their messages and then close the app and toss the phone across the couch like it burned them. You are getting none of this information, divine feminine, because the entire point of their behavior right now is to make sure you never find out how much they're reaching. The silence on your end is real. The silence on their end is performance. Underneath it, they are reaching for you constantly. And here's the part that's going to land. The reason the Eight of Cups came reversed is because deep down, they don't actually want to walk away from this. You walked away cleanly. They are stuck in the doorway, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, unable to leave, and unwilling to come back. Because coming back means admitting they were wrong to ever let you go. And I want to name the specific torment of the reversed Eight of Cups, because it's a unique kind of suffering, and your person is living inside it right now. It's the torment of suspended departure. See, when you fully leave something the way you did, there's pain. But there's also movement. There's forward motion. There's the clean ache of a decision made. But the reversed Eight of Cups gets none of that relief, because they never actually committed to either direction. They can't move toward you because their pride won't let them. They can't move away from you because their heart won't let them. So they're just stuck, swinging back and forth in the doorway, and that stuckness is its own special hell. You, divine feminine, get to heal, because you chose. You picked a direction, and you walked. They don't get to heal, because they refuse to choose. They'd rather hover in the agony of maybe than face the finality of either yes, I'll fight for them, or no, I'll let them go. So while your no contact feels hard on some days, and I know it does, understand that you are in the cleaner pain. You're in the pain that ends. They're in the pain that just loops. Let's pull the next card. The third pull, the malfunction, the next card is the Tower, and the moment it landed, I actually laughed out loud, because this is the card in the title. This is the malfunction. Now, I read the Tower differently than a lot of people, so stay with me. Everyone panics when the Tower shows up, but in this context, the Tower is not happening to you. The Tower is happening to them. And it's not a building falling on you, it's the collapse of a structure inside their mind. Specifically, it's the collapse of the belief that you'd always be there. Here's what I mean. This person had a whole internal architecture built on a single assumption: she'll wait. He'll come around. They always do. I can pull back, I can take my time, I can keep one foot out the door, and they'll still be standing there when I decide to look back. That assumption was load bearing. It was holding up their entire sense of control over this connection. And your calm, classy, no contact exit was the lightning bolt that hit that tower and brought the whole thing down in one strike. Because they looked back the way they always do, the way they were sure they could, and you weren't there. And that, loves, is the malfunction. That's the behind the scenes the title is talking about. This person is genuinely glitching. Their behavior is erratic right now, in ways the people around them have probably noticed. They're distracted. They're snippy with people who don't deserve it. They're checking their phone compulsively. They're going through old photos at 2 in the morning. They're bringing you up in conversations where you don't belong, and then pretending they didn't. The composed, in-control version of this person that you knew is malfunctioning. Because the thing that gave them their sense of control, the certainty that you'd always be reachable, just got vaporized. And here's the beautiful, brutal truth of the tower. What it tears down was never built on solid ground in the first place. Their sense of control over you was an illusion. It was a house of cards held together by your patience. And the second you stopped supplying the patience, the whole thing came down. That's not your fault, and it's not something you need to feel guilty about. That's just gravity finally doing its job. And I want you to understand the speed of a tower, because it's part of why this hit them so hard. The tower doesn't crumble slowly. It doesn't give warning. It's a lightning strike instant, total, irreversible. And that's exactly how your absence registered in their system. There was no gradual fade where they got to slowly adjust to you mattering a little less each day. One moment you were a fixed point in their world, a certainty they never had to think about, and the next moment gone, completely. With no warning, they were willing to take seriously. Because here's the thing, you probably did warn them. Not with ultimatums, not with threats, but in 100 quiet ways over a long time, you told them what you needed and what you wouldn't keep accepting. They just didn't believe you. They filed your warnings under "she's just upset, she'll be fine, she always is." So when the tower finally struck, it felt sudden to them, but only because they refused to read the signs you'd been giving them all along. The collapse was instant on their end, and a long time coming on yours. That gap between how slowly you arrived at your decision and how suddenly it landed on them is a huge part of why they're so destabilized. They genuinely didn't see it coming because they weren't paying attention to the woman who was telling them, gently and clearly, exactly how this would end if nothing changed. Comment the tower fell below if you've started to sense that your absence hit harder than your presence ever did. Because I promise you, it did. Let's keep going. The fourth pull, what they see in the mirror now, okay? The next card is the Five of Pentacles. And this is where it gets really tender and really revealing, so I want you to listen closely. The Five of Pentacles is the card of feeling out in the cold, of being on the outside of a warm window looking in. And what this card is telling me is that your person is, for the very first time, experiencing scarcity where you're concerned. They are feeling the lack of you. And here's why this is so significant: they never felt it before. When you were there, when you were available, when you were patient and present and reaching for them, they experienced you as abundance, as something endless, something they didn't have to be careful with, because there was always going to be more. You know how you treat something you think is infinite carelessly. You leave the lights on. You let the water run. You don't conserve a thing you believe will never run out. That's how they treated your love. Not because they're evil, necessarily, but because they truly believed it was inexhaustible. And the Five of Pentacles is the card of the moment the well runs dry. The moment they reach for the abundance they took for granted and find a closed door and a cold night. Now they feel the value of what they had because they're standing outside of it. Loss has a way of doing the math that presence never could. You were priceless the whole time, they just couldn't see the price until they had to pay it. And I want to add one more thing about the cold of this card, because it's the detail that's going to stay with them the longest. The Five of Pentacles isn't just about being out in the cold, it's about being out in the cold while the warmth still exists, just not for you anymore. The lit window in this card is the cruelest part. The people in the warm room are still in there. The light is still on. The fire is still burning. It just isn't theirs to walk into anymore. And that's exactly what your person is experiencing. It's not that warmth ceased to exist, it's that your warmth, the warmth they had unlimited access to, is now glowing somewhere they can no longer reach. They can see you thriving. They can sense you at peace. They can feel the light of the life you've rebuilt without them. And they're on the outside of that window now, in the cold, watching the glow of something they used to be able to walk into any time they wanted, and never once thought to be grateful for. That image you, warm and whole and lit from within, on the other side of a glass they can't pass through, is the picture that's going to live in their mind, rent-free for a very long time. Let's pull the next card. The fifth pull, why the calm exit specifically wrecked them, the next card, is the Queen of Pentacles. And Divine Feminine, this is you. And I love that this is the card that came out to explain why your particular style of exit hits so hard. Because it tells me everything about who you are and what they lost. The Queen of Pentacles is grounded. She is self-possessed. She is the woman who has built her own life, her own stability, her own warmth, and who does not lose her composure for anybody. She is the most secure, most rooted energy in the entire deck. And this is the energy you led with on your way out the door. You didn't leave like someone who was falling apart. You left like someone who simply decided she deserved better and acted on it. No theatrics, no ultimatums, no look what you made me do. Just a quiet, rooted, dignified, I'm done. And then the steady follow-through of actually meaning it. And loves that is what malfunctioned them. Because rage they could have handled. Tears they could have handled. Begging they would have loved, honestly. Because begging would have confirmed their power. But composure, grace, a woman who leaves with her crown on straight and never looks back, that they had no defense for. That is the one exit they could not spin, could not guilt, could not manipulate their way out of. The Queen of Pentacles also tells me something about how you're handling the no contact. And I want to affirm it because I think you need to hear it. You are not white-knuckling this silence. You're not sitting by the phone pretending you don't want them to text. You have genuinely returned to yourself. You've gone back to your own garden. You're tending your own life. You're pouring your energy back into the things and people that actually nourish you. And that authentic, unbothered self-restoration is radiating off of you, even at a distance, even through the silence. They can feel you thriving without them. And there is nothing that destabilizes a person who left one foot out the door, like the realization that the person they kept on the back burner has stopped simmering and walked out of the kitchen entirely. Comment crown stayed on below if you left with your dignity fully intact, if you never once gave them the chaos they were probably counting on. Because that, my loves, is your superpower. And I want to sit with why the calm exit specifically destabilizes a certain kind of person. Because I think understanding it will help you trust your own instincts even more. People who keep someone on the back burner, people who run hot and cold, who lean back and make you lean in, they are, at their core, addicted to reaction. They need to see you react to feel powerful. Your upset confirms they have an effect on you. Your tears confirm you care. Your anger confirms you're still hooked. Even your begging, as painful as it is to give, feeds them, because it proves you'll fight to keep them. Every reaction you have is a little hit of confirmation that they still matter to you, that they still have the power, that the connection is still tilted in their favor. So when you exit without a reaction, when you leave calm, composed, dignified, giving them absolutely nothing to feed on, you don't just leave them. You cut off their supply. You starve the very thing they were addicted to. And a person in withdrawal from your reactions will do anything to provoke one more. That's part of what the breadcrumb reach out will talk about, is really about it's not always that they want you back. Sometimes it's that they just need one more reaction to confirm they still have an effect on you. They need to see the old you light up. And the most powerful thing you can do, the thing that keeps your crown exactly where it is to deny them that confirmation. Not out of coldness, not out of revenge, simply because you've genuinely moved on, and a woman who has genuinely moved on doesn't have a reaction to give, because the wound that used to react has closed. Your peace is the one thing they cannot manufacture a response from, and that drives them to the edge. Let's pull the next card. The sixth pull, the conversation they're having about you, okay? This next card is the Three of Swords, reversed. And it's giving me access to something really specific, the internal conversation this person is having about you. The one in their own head, and the one they're having with the people closest to them. Upright, the Three of Swords is heartbreak, the clean, sharp pain of being hurt. Reversed, it's the energy of someone trying to recover from a wound, but not quite managing it. Someone in the messy middle of processing a heartbreak they don't even feel like they have the right to feel. And that's the key. Loves your person feels like they're not allowed to be heartbroken because they're the one who let this slip through their fingers. They can't go around grieving someone they had the chance to keep. So the grief comes out sideways. It comes out as irritability, as distraction, as a strange new heaviness their friends have noticed and asked about. And here's what's happening in those conversations with their inner circle. At first, your person tried to spin it. They told the version where they were fine, where it wasn't a big deal, where they were the one who'd moved on. But the reverse Three of Swords tells me that mask is cracking. The people who actually know them aren't buying it anymore. Because you can't fake your way through this kind of loss for long, and the ones closest to them are starting to say the quiet part out loud. You really messed that one up. She was different. You're not over it. Stop pretending you are. And every time someone in their life says that to them, it's like pressing on a bruise. Because it confirms the thing they're trying so hard not to feel, that this wasn't just another connection that fizzled. This was the one they fumbled. This was the one where they had something genuinely good and rare in their hands. And they let their pride, their avoidance, their need for control, talk them out of holding on to it. So when you wonder, in the silence, whether they ever talk about you, whether you even cross their mind, I want you to understand. You are not a passing thought. You are a recurring conversation. You are the name that keeps coming up. You are the one their friends have learned to brace for. Because they know that mentioning you is going to send this person into that quiet, far away, heavy place. You haunt this connection now, gracefully, from a distance, without lifting a finger. And here's a layer of the reverse Three of Swords that I find almost poetic, divine feminine. This card, reversed, is the card of a wound that won't close because it isn't being tended properly. And the reason your person's heartbreak won't heal is that they're trying to heal it without honesty. You cannot recover from a loss you won't admit you caused. You cannot process grief you won't let yourself feel. So your person is stuck in this loop where the wound stays open because they keep slapping a bandage of pride over it instead of doing the actual work of acknowledging what happened. They tell themselves they're fine. The wound says otherwise. They tell their friends it wasn't serious. The wound says otherwise. They keep trying to close it with denial, and denial has never healed a single thing in the history of the human heart. So it just stays raw, open, aching, reminding them, every single day, of the truth they refuse to say out loud. Meanwhile, you, because you left in honesty, because you named the truth to yourself, even if you never said it to them, your version of this wound is actually healing. That's the difference honesty makes. You get to mend because you were willing to be real about it. They stay broken because they won't be. Let's pull the next card. The seventh pull the test they're going to fail the next card is the Knight of Cups. And this one is a heads up loves. So pay attention because this is about what's coming. The Knight of Cups is the energy of someone approaching with their heart in their hands. Someone making a romantic move, an emotional gesture, a reaching out. And this card tells me that your person is building toward a contact attempt. The silence is going to break not from your side, but from theirs. The phantom reaches we talked about earlier, all those unsent drafts, all those almost messages, one of them is eventually going to make it out into the world. But here's what I need you to understand about how this is going to come, because the form of it matters enormously. The Knight of Cups, when it comes from an avoidant, prideful place, is rarely a clean, honest I miss you, I was wrong, I want to make this right. That would require too much vulnerability all at once. Instead, it tends to come in disguise. It comes as a low-stakes test. It comes as the casual hey, stranger. It comes as the random meme sent like nothing ever happened. It comes as the happy birthday text, the I saw this and thought of you, the liking of a photo after months of nothing. It comes wrapped in plausible deniability, so that if you don't respond warmly, they can pretend they were never really trying. And this is the test they're going to fail. Loves if you stay rooted in your Queen of Pentacles energy. Because the whole point of the casual, deniable reach out is to get you to do the work of warming the connection back up for them. To get you to fill the space. To read the meaning into the meaningless message. To chase the breadcrumb. And if you've truly restored yourself, if you've truly closed this chapter with peace, you're going to see that breadcrumb for exactly what it is. Not love, not accountability, just a hand reaching out to check if the door is still unlocked, while refusing to actually knock and ask to be let in. I'm not here to tell you what to do with that contact when it comes. That's your sovereign choice, and only you know the full story of this connection. But I am here to tell you what it is, so you're not caught off guard, and so you don't mistake a test of access for a genuine offer of change. There's a world of difference between someone who misses having you and someone who's ready to actually value you. The casual reach out is the former. Keep your eyes open for whether they're willing to risk the latter. And I want to give you a simple way to tell the difference, because I know in the moment when that message finally lights up your screen, it's going to be hard to think clearly. Your heart's going to leap before your head can catch up. That's human. That's normal. Don't shame yourself for it. So here's the test, and it's a clean one. A genuine reach out names what happened. It takes accountability without you having to drag it out of them. It says some version of I was wrong, I miss you, I see now what I had. It's specific. It's vulnerable. It risks something. A test of access, on the other hand, avoids what happened entirely. It acts like nothing ever broke. It's the hey stranger, the meme, the casual check-in that pretends the silence never existed. The genuine one acknowledges the door that closed. The fake one just jiggles the handle and hopes you'll open it without making them explain why they left in the first place. If they're not willing to name what happened, they're not ready to fix it, they're just testing whether they still have the option to. Hold that distinction close. It'll protect you. Comment the breadcrumb if you've already gotten one of these, the random, low effort, out of nowhere reach out designed to test whether you're still available. I see you. And I'm proud of you for recognizing it. Let's pull the next card. The eighth pull the lesson this is teaching them, okay? The next card is the Hanged Man. And this is such a profound card to come out right now because it tells me what this whole experience is, for at least from their side of it. The Hanged Man is the card of suspension, of being stuck in a state of forced stillness, hanging upside down, unable to move forward, unable to go back, and in that suspension, being made to see everything from a completely different angle. And that, loves, is the spiritual function of your no contact in your person's life. You suspended them. By going quiet, by not chasing, by not feeding the dynamic, you put them in a holding pattern where the only thing left for them to do is think and see and reckon. When you were there, they never had to grow. Why would they? Growth is uncomfortable, and you were making everything comfortable for them. You were the cushion. You were the safety net. You were the patient one who absorbed all the avoidance and the hot and cold and the half effort and let them stay exactly as they were. People do not change when they're comfortable. They change when something they relied on is suddenly gone, and they're left hanging in the discomfort, forced to look at themselves. That's what you gave them with your absence. Even though you didn't do it for them, you did it for you. And that's exactly right. But the side effect is real, and it's powerful. Your exit became their teacher. The hanged man is teaching them, in the only language they were ever going to understand, what your presence was actually worth. They couldn't learn it while they had you. They could only learn it once you were gone, and the lesson was hanging right in front of their upside down face. Now, here's the part I have to be honest with you about, because I never want to sell you false comfort. The hanged man's lesson can lead to real transformation. Some of your people are going to use the suspension to genuinely change, to look in the mirror, to do the work, to become someone capable of showing up the way you always deserved. But the hanged man only works if the person surrenders to it, if they fight it, if they stay rigid, if they refuse to let the new perspective in. Then they just hang there in their own resistance and learn nothing. So this card is teaching them something, but whether they actually learn it is still up to them. Your part is done. You did the brave, clean, dignified thing. What they do with the lesson you handed them is theirs to carry. Let's pull our final card. The final pull where this leaves you, the last card I'm pulling tonight, is the Star. And oh, my loves, of course it's the Star. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect card to close this on. After the Tower, after the collapse, after the malfunction, after the whole structure of their certainty came crashing down, the Star always follows. That's the natural order in the deck and in life. The Tower destroys the false thing, and the Star is the soft, clear, healing light that rises afterward. And here's what's so important for you to understand. The Tower was theirs. The Star is yours. This card is not about them. This is the universe turning the camera back around to you and saying, look what's waiting on the other side of the goodbye you were brave enough to make. The Star is hope. It's renewal. It's faith restored. It's the gentle promise that you did not leave that connection to walk into emptiness. You left it to walk into something better. Even if you can't see the full shape of it yet. You released a connection that required you to shrink, to wait, to chase, to settle for crumbs from someone who treated your abundance like it was disposable. And in releasing it, you opened up the entire sky. The Star also tells me something about your healing that I want you to really take in. You are not bitter. That woman in the pharmacy this morning, the one whose words started this whole reading, she wasn't bitter. And neither are you. You left with grace, not as a strategy, not as a manipulation, not as some calculated move to make them malfunction. You left with grace, because that's simply who you are. The composure was authentic. The dignity was real. And the fact that it happened to devastate the person you left behind is just the natural consequence of someone finally needing an energy they couldn't control. You didn't do it to them. You did it for you. The malfunction is just gravity. So here's where this leaves you. Divine Feminine. You are standing under an open sky with your crown on straight, your peace intact, and a future that is genuinely brighter for the absence of what you released. Whatever happens behind the scenes for them, the fog, the reaching, the collapse, the cold, the conversations, the lesson, that's their journey now. It is no longer your job to manage it, to soften it, to wait around to see if they pass the test. Your job is to keep walking toward your own star, to keep tending your own garden, to stay exactly as rooted and radiant and self-possessed as you were on the day you walked away. And if they do the work, if they surrender to the hanged man's lesson and come back genuinely transformed, ready to value you the way you always deserved, then you'll be standing in your power, clear-eyed and whole, fully able to decide whether there's room for them in the life you've rebuilt. And if they don't, you will have lost absolutely nothing, because you'd already gained the only thing that ever mattered: yourself. And there's one more thing the star wants me to give you tonight. And it's the gentlest, most important part of this whole reading. The star in the old imagery shows a woman pouring water 1 cup back into the lake, 1 cup onto the dry earth. And what that means is replenishment. It means that after a season of pouring yourself out and loves, you poured yourself out in this connection. You gave and reached and waited and held space. The star is the moment you finally get to pour back into yourself. The water that used to go to them now goes to you. The energy you used to spend managing their moods, decoding their silences, shrinking to fit their comfort, all of that energy is yours again. And you're going to feel it come back. You already are. That lightness you've noticed in the quieter moments of this no contact, that little flicker of, oh, I forgot what it felt like to not be anxious all the time. That's the star. That's you being refilled. That's your own water finally coming home to you instead of running out towards someone who let it spill. So please don't measure the success of your healing by whether or not they come back. That's the trap, and I don't want you to fall into it. The star isn't promising you their return. The star is promising you your return to yourself, to your peace, to your hope, to the version of you that existed before this connection taught you to wait and shrink and settle. That woman is coming back. That's the renewal. And she is so much more than enough. Why your silence carries this much weight, before I bring this whole thing together, I want to talk to you about the mechanics of this, about why your silence is actually carrying this much weight. Because I think if you understand the why, you'll be able to hold your peace with so much more confidence. Here's the thing nobody tells you about no contact, my loves. Silence is not empty. We treat silence like it's nothing, like it's the absence of action. Like by going quiet, you're doing nothing and just hoping. But that's backwards. Your silence is the single loudest statement you've ever made in this connection, and here's why. It's the first thing you've ever done that they can't respond to. Think about the entire history of this dynamic. Every other move you made, they had a counter move. You reached, they pulled back. You got upset, they went cold. You expressed a need, they deflected. You opened your heart, they managed the temperature. The whole relationship was a series of moves and counter moves. And they were good at it. They always had an answer for you. A way to regain the upper hand. A way to keep you slightly off balance and reaching. That was the game, and they were winning it because they had a response for everything you could throw at them. And then you stopped throwing. You stopped playing. You walked off the board entirely. And suddenly, for the first time, they're sitting at the table with all their clever moves and counter moves and no one across from them. There's nothing to respond to. There's no need to deflect because there's no need being expressed. There's no temperature to manage because you took the thermostat with you. Every single tool they use to control this connection requires you to be participating. And you're not anymore. You took the only thing that ever gave them power, your engagement. And without it, they have nothing. They're a chess master with no opponent. They're shouting into a room that's gone empty. That's why this is malfunctioning them so badly. It's not just that they miss you, though they do. It's that your silence has rendered their entire arsenal useless. Every weapon they have only works on a target who's still standing there. And you left. So now they're standing there holding 100 tools designed to keep you reaching, with no one left to reach. And here's the most important part. Divine feminine, so please write this on your heart. This only works because it's real. If you were doing no contact as a strategy, sitting there white-knuckling your phone, secretly desperate, performing peace while privately falling apart, it wouldn't carry this weight. They'd feel the desperation underneath it, and they'd know they still had you. The reason your silence is this powerful is because it's genuine. You actually walked away. You actually restored yourself. You actually closed the chapter in your own heart. And that authenticity is something they can feel across any distance. through any silence. Because energy doesn't lie. They're not malfunctioning because you went quiet. They're malfunctioning because they can feel that you meant it. So if anyone, including the doubting voice in your own head, ever tries to tell you that no contact is playing games or being immature or just hoping they'll come back, I want you to remember this card spread. You're not playing a game. You ended one. There's a profound difference. A game is something you're still trying to win. You're not trying to win anything. You already won the only thing that mattered, which was your own peace, the moment you decided you deserved it. Bringing it all together, so let me weave this whole story together for you before I let you go tonight, because I want you to leave here with total clarity. You left, and you left well. No drama, no scene, no story for them to hide behind. Just a calm, classy, dignified exit. And that exit did something they were completely unprepared for. It put them in a fog they can't think their way out of the Seven of Cups, grasping at empty cups, unable to find a reason that makes the loss make sense. It froze them in the doorway, the reversed Eight of Cups, reaching for you in 100 secret ways you never get to see, drafting messages they never send, too proud to come back and too haunted to truly leave. It collapsed the entire structure of their certainty, the tower, the malfunction. The realization that the person they were sure would always wait simply didn't. It left them out in the cold, doing the math on what they squandered, the Five of Pentacles. Humbled, ashamed, finally understanding the value of what they had, only now that they're standing outside of it. And the reason it hit this hard, the Queen of Pentacles. You're grounded, rooted, unbothered, self-possessed energy. The one exit style they had no defense against. While behind the scenes, the reverse Three of Swords, they grieve a loss they don't feel entitled to. While their own friends tell them the truth they're trying not to hear, you fumbled the rare one. And what's coming? The Knight of Cups, a reach out in disguise. A breadcrumb. A test of access, dressed up as a casual hello. And the Hanged Man, the lesson your absence is teaching them, whether or not they're brave enough to actually learn it. But the final word, the card that gets to close this whole story, is the Star. And the star is yours. Hope, renewal, and open sky. A future that is brighter precisely because you were strong enough to walk away from a connection that couldn't hold you. So here's what I want you to carry out of this room tonight. Elena's loves. The silence you've been keeping, the no contact you've been wondering about, second guessing, asking yourself whether it's even landing, it is landing harder than you could possibly imagine. Your peace is louder than any argument you could have made. Your grace is more devastating than any scene you could have caused. Your absence is teaching them what your presence never could. You did not lose your power when you went quiet. You found it. And you are walking, right now, towards something that is going to make this entire chapter look like the necessary closing of a door you were always meant to walk through. Don't break the silence to check if it's working. It's working. Don't doubt the grace. The grace is your crown. And don't ever, ever let anyone make you feel like your calm was weakness. Because tonight, the cards just showed you it was the single most powerful thing you could have done. That's it for tonight, my beautiful souls. If this reading resonated, if your chest got tight, if a face flashed in your mind, if you felt that quiet yes settle into your bones, then please give this video a like on your way out. It genuinely helps these messages reach the people who need them. The ones who left with grace and have been wondering if it mattered. And subscribe if you haven't yet, because I've got so much more coming for you. Drop a comment and tell me which card hit you the hardest tonight. Was it the Tower malfunction? The cold of the Five of Pentacles? The crown of the Queen? I read every single one. And the card you choose tells me exactly where you are in your own healing. And if you already know exactly who this is about, you don't even have to name them. Just type a single star. Just one star. So I know you felt it. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Thank you for being the kind of soul who can walk away with grace, who can choose peace over chaos, who can value yourself enough to close a door quietly and keep your crown on straight. That's rare. That's powerful. And I am so proud of you. Take such good care of yourselves. Keep walking toward your star. I'll see you in the next one.